Well, thank you, gentlemen. As you mentioned, a fantastic way to start off the split there. Very exciting game between the two teams. I have here on the desk with me Incarnation and Meteos from the victorious Cloud9. So first off, congratulations, but I'm coming to you immediately, Incarnation. First big game on the LAN stage here in the North American LCS. You have to go up against the defending champions from the spring split, as well as the MVP in the mid lane, Bjergsen. What was the pressure and the nerves and, what was the mindset going into this game one?
I was a bit nervous when we started, and then they really focused mid as well, so it made me I don't know, I got extremely nervous, and I felt really far behind, and Bjergsen played the matchup very well.
But it seemed like you guys had the right idea in that, okay, we have this late game scaling Kog'Maw. It's okay as long as we can continue to stall the game out. And so in that sense, you had this incredible support system behind you in Meteos, Balls, Lemonation, and Sneaky, where it was a lot about a rotational game, not picking fights, just waiting for you to power up. How has that been moving into this team setting as a solo queue player where you have the ability to say, I'm not doing very well right now, guys. Let's take a step back and wait till I power up?
It's very different. Usually, I always had the mentality that I had to get ahead to win the game, but my team is playing really well, so I don't necessarily have to take risk or win my lane to win the game, so it's going really good.
And Meteos, now over to you. One of the big questions going into today was how the team would cope with the loss of the shot caller in high. We listened into some of the comms during the game. Everything seemed very calm between you guys, even in a bit of that deficit that was growing early. Very calm, cool, collected, and a lot of communication between the players. So how do you feel the communication, the shot calling has grown and evolved with the team so far?
I think that our communication as a team is still pretty good in the sense that we all get along really well, so it's pretty easy to just do calls. But I will say that I don't think I'm highest level of shot calling at all. He was extremely good, especially when we would get behind, because when High was there leading us, it never really felt pressured when we were behind. It's just sort of we all know what to do. And so taking on that responsibility, I was feeling a bit confused when we were getting behind, and it feels bad when we're getting pressured. But we just tried to stay calm, realize that Kog'Maw scales, and so we managed to win, but I don't think it was our cleanest game ever. We still have a lot of work to do in that department, but it's getting there.
Now, when it comes to work that you have to do, we heard Sneaky mention in a feature we showed earlier that the belief is that bringing Incarnation in, if everything is done properly, you guys can become a much stronger team than you were before. What are the steps that you guys are actively taking to improve from where you're at now, here in Game 1, which was a very solid performance unseating the defending champions, to where you hope to be come the end of the split?
I think that it's just going to take a lot of games to get to where we need to go. I don't know if there's specific problems, but in scrims, we're just running into issues where we're faced with a situation we haven't seen before. And so we have to basically figure out what to do in that situation. And when I'm shot calling, it's kind of my responsibility to do that. And then we all have to get on the same page for it. So a lot of times, there'll be some hesitation with what we're doing, and I think that's really bad from a competitive standpoint. Anytime you hesitate, it's basically just a mistake. You're not doing anything. So we've been working towards just everyone go for something, even if it's not necessarily the right play. If it's not right, we can look at the replay, learn what the right thing to do is, and then go for that. Basically, it's just getting on the same page and then figuring out what we're actually supposed to be doing. So we're getting there slowly. It's not something that you can learn overnight, but that's definitely what we're trying to do.
Now, Incarnation, you also mentioned in the feature that we talked about that you aren't necessarily going to try and fill High's role for what he did, because you are your own player. So in your own words, what is kind of the mark of your play style? What, at the end of the day, are you going to be remembered for in this league as a mid laner?
I mean, I personally prefer playing aggressive, but now that it's on stage as well, it's a bit different, because at least today I was not really feeling like it. I was a bit nervous as well, and the matchup wasn't the best for it. So it's hard, but personally, yeah, I prefer being the aggressive player.
All right, well, ultimately, you guys started off very strong. As I mentioned, unseating number 1, you have Dignitas tomorrow, Meteos. But, more than just that match, I want to kind of source your opinion on how you think today's performance reflects Cloud9's strength currently. You mentioned it's not your cleanest showing ever, but do you feel that it was a pretty accurate showing as to where you are right now?
I think it sort of showed how we were, not so much the win or loss, because that game was extremely close. I had a really bad engage at Dragon that almost lost us the game. but Balls saved it with a really nice Rumble ult. So it was one of those games that was super close, and we could have won or lost it basically any fight. And so that's kind of where we are. I'd say we're not to the point where we're having dominating performances or anything like that like we have in the past, but we're not going to just like fall over every game. So I think we're doing all right now.
All right, well, again, congratulations on the victory, starting the split off strong. The game did not fail to excite fans at home, I'm sure, or us here at the desk. Now, don't go anywhere. When we return, Team Dragon Knights make their LCS debut when they face off against Team Liquid. We'll be right back after this.